It's time for Two Guys and a Goalie with Dustin Nielsen, Matt Cassian, and the goalie, Joaquin Gage.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 262 of Two Guys and a Goalie, all brought to you by our wonderful partners at CoolBet. If you've not signed up for an account at CoolBet yet, you can do that right now. Just hop online at coolbet.com, use the code 2guys, number 2 in the word guys, and you'll get a 100% deposit bonus on your initial deposit up to $200. They've actually got a special going on over there tonight. It's the Here's to You, Mrs. Robertson special. Nick and Jason Robertson tonight in that Dallas-Toronto game to both have 1 point. It's plus 300 right now. So here's to you, Mr. Robertson. Click on CoolBet exclusives, and if you like both Robertsons to get a point tonight, you get it at 3-1. Cass Gager, what's up, boys? How you doing?
I'm good. It's Gager's birthday.
Yesterday was Gager's 49th birthday.
Well, happy birthday, Gager. Let me just see. I think I got something here for you.
Sweet.
What is this?
No, I don't. I forgot it. You'll get it later.
I'm looking around. I'm trying to. What could I give Gager? I can give Gager this Saku Koivu card that somebody gave me at my kids' hockey the other day. That's for you, Gager.
No, you keep that. That's all right, man. It's
happy 49th,
just the
buddy.
Thought. That's just the thought. I was hoping for a Jelly of the Month club, but whatever.
Hey, what's 49 like? Like 50 is going to be huge. We're going to have to do something awesome for 50, I'm sure. You know what we should do for 50? We should roast the hell out of you again. That would be terrific. Yeah. But how was 49? What'd you guys do?
Well, nothing really. It's not really big Wednesday festivities, but unfortunately my daughter got sick. So,
damn.
I was gonna go maybe have a couple beers or something like that, but no, we had to sit back and make sure she's okay. So she's feeling a little bit better today, but you know what? It was okay. We were all together. It was and with my daughter being sick, and and now you're a little bit more responsible with with people that aren't feeling well.
Yeah.
So we didn't really have many people over or anything like that. So in-laws came over, gave me some cool gifts. I got what I wanted, a Yeti coffee mug.
Nice.
So
Very nice.
Because the reason why is like I drink coffee, black, just like and it gets cold all the time. So with this thing, I drink less coffee now because it stays warm. So I find I guzzle it. Yeah. So yeah, just 49. Body feels like crap. Other than that, it's all good, Dusty.
Well, happy birthday, buddy. Great job on Sportsnet Tuesday night. The star of the panel with that Eminem reference. I knew Prince would hop on too, right? I was just
so good.
I was like, ooh, he's dropping some B Rabbit from 8 Mile. This is great. It was that was good stuff, buddy.
I try to get something over Gene, right? Like him coming out to the Timmy Trumpet thing or whatever. That was
amazing.
And then, but even after that, like he goes, I didn't know if I heard that correctly. I was 8 miles away or something. Like it was,
it was great.
So quick. Yeah. I can't get anything to stump him at all. He's perfect. And well, Stoff, he didn't know what we were talking about, but it was pretty funny.
It was good. It was really good. All right, Cass, you checked out the morning skates today for both Carolina and Edmonton, and we were actually talking about it before we went on. We're kind of going back and forth on the morning skate. Tell us about Carolina, because like Oilers, usually the optional, not many guys are out there, but the Hurricanes giving her today or what?
Oilers have like 5 guys out there, which is fairly typical for them. Hurricanes, now they've had a couple days in between games. So, but they had a full practice yesterday. They're on the road. They had a full practice yesterday. So, and apparently it was a pretty up-tempo from the people that watched it. I didn't watch it, but apparently it was an up-tempo practice. They had everybody on ice. It was mandatory, no optional. Doesn't matter who you were. I'm sure if someone was hurt, they wouldn't be on or really banged up, but everyone was out there, and it was a long pregame skate. I mean, we're talking like a full 45 minutes of drills and pretty high tempo drills. Like there was a couple flow drills. It's not like they were battle drills, but like everyone was moving frequently. their coach, Brindamore, was involved in a lot of the drills. And what I mean by involved, it wasn't like he was actually doing them, but, if a skater's, they're doing a flow drill and the skater picks up the puck and is skating into shoot, well, he'd be up in their face, like forcing them to step around and, make a move and then go in and shoot. And then he'd be, up at the dot and then back into the zone, up to the dot, back into the zone. So he was involved in all of it. And the guys didn't believe me because I told them before the Hurricanes went out. I was talking with Ryan Rishaug and Gregor and Tommy Gazzola. And I was just like, never have an optional. And Rishaug was like, really? You see they had a full practice yesterday. Like, it's going to be an optional. I was like, not going to be an optional. Wasn't an optional. And then by the end of it, they kind of were, I guess, jumping on board with what I was saying, in that I think Carolina is going to have to be really careful with their volume. They're being asked to play such a high tempo, high intensity game, and we'll see that tonight. And that's great. It's one of the things that makes them really good. Brindamore, big driver of that energy play, is exactly the type of player and person he is. But I just get worried that they're going to burn their guys out. And I think that was an issue last year in the playoffs, and it could be an issue this year in playoffs, is if they don't give their guys days off, if they don't let guys have an option to rest in the morning, all these game days, I think you run out of steam. I think you absolutely run out of steam. And this is where Gager and I disagree. So Gager, give me your why on pregame skates. Why do you like pregame skates?
Well, I'm looking more to the time of year of right now. Like, you're only a few games in. If you can't handle a pregame skate and perform, there's something seriously wrong with your fitness level. But it's not only just the, getting the gear on, feeling the puck, things like that. There's a camaraderie thing about pregame skates that were always a little bit different. And I think 45 minutes is probably a little bit too long. I liked the 20 minutes, get out there, stretch, couple jokes, guys, just flow drills, 2-on-1s, 2-on-0s, 3-on-1s, 3-on-2s, maybe a little power play at the end, and boom, most of the guys that are playing that night are usually off, maybe a little, but there was always you'd hang around the guys, you'd talk, the coach would say something. There's something to a pregame skate, just having the full team out there. I think that's beneficial. It just gets everyone ready. And I understand that by game 50, there should be some options eventually, right? And certain times in the schedule, maybe you're playing a lot. But at this time of the year, I was shocked because I was at the last skate against the Buffalo Sabres, and I was shocked that no Oilers took the skate. There was just a handful of guys out there to begin. And I just thought it was weird to me to be so in the infancy of the season and not have at least just a 20-minute skate to get guys going and get the hooting and hollering and maybe just a little bit more excitement back into the room. I don't know. That's how I felt. That's what I liked pregame skates for, because God knows I didn't stop anything in them.
See, Cass, would you eliminate them entirely or what?
No. For guys that really, really like them, because there's some players that really like them. I like a perfect pregame skate to me was kind of what Gager said. I want to be on the ice for 10 minutes. I want to get my stuff on. I want to not even be out there long enough to really sweat, but to get out there, to feel the puck a couple times, to pass it, to catch some passes on my backhand, move the puck across my body, get a couple shots, get some flow going just a couple minutes. Feel my skates, because I always got my skates sharpened before pregame skates, so they would feel the same when I stepped on the ice in the evening. So I like that. I like having the feel of my equipment on and just getting comfortable. And some guys like that. And I think you want to have the ability for those players to go out and do that. But the science, and this is where it gets me, is like, if you have a 45-minute pregame skate, and I'm not talking like if you had a day off before, like have a pregame skate. You had a day off already. You've had a chance to recover. Like, have a little pregame skate, get some flow and get reps on your goalies. Like, I'm not talking about that situation. But when you've had the opportunity to be on the ice, and Gage, I agree with, like, it's early in the season, but my point with Carolina is this isn't going to change. This is going to be how they run their pregame skates for the entirety of the year. And that to me is longer term where you create an issue. Now, maybe you can make a case that it's too early in the season and the Oilers shouldn't be doing that. But you want to tell me that Leon and Connor need to be on the ice for pregame skate? No, you're again, science-wise, your nervous system, it's not an unlimited, you don't have an unlimited number of goes in your system, like the firing and energy, and it takes time to rebuild that, and you're not going to do it in an afternoon or just with an afternoon nap. Like, the rest helps, but it's not enough to recover scientifically, generally speaking. So I don't know. I think, and to go to the history of them, Scotty Bowman brought them in because he saw a Russian team do it back a long time ago, and he thought, oh, what a great idea, they're a good team, let's do this. And part of the reason they did them is because back then, before Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and social media, players had a opportunity, or they used the opportunity, especially on the road, to have a little bit more fun and to maybe have a couple more drinks the night before. And so the morning skate was largely used to get the booze out of guys' systems the day after going out and partying at some club on the road. And that is not nearly as much an issue now. The teams are more worried about guys staying up playing Fortnite till 3 a.m. than they are about guys going out. And to me, just the pregame skate, I don't think it accomplishes what a lot of coaches think it does. And I'm more of a fan of the Woodcroft style of whoever wants to be out there, go out there. If you had a day off before, again, making it mandatory, fine. Totally on board with that, to make sure everyone, is not
playing, have a chance to get some ice.
If you're not playing, get on the ice, work on some stuff. Guys that aren't going to be in the lineup, get some extra work in. Make sure you're keeping your game tempo up and your speed up. Totally get it. But beyond that, I don't know, guys. I think it takes out more of your team than it puts in over the long term.
Yeah, but I hated that. Guys, it's optional. And I think Ron Lowe once looked at me. He said, okay, boys, optional pregame skate. And he looked over at me. He goes, not for you.
Yeah.
And then you get guys going, oh, God, I did play a lot last game, but I don't. Do I go? And it's like,
that's an old school mentality, Gager, and I don't think Woodcroft's like that at all. Like, I
just had a birthday, Cass. You don't have to rub it in anymore, all right?
I
know I'm old.
Old school coaching. 49. Old school coaching, Gager. Old school coaching, and then it's just like, because it was for me. Like, I don't think I ever took an optional ever, because I didn't play enough minutes, like, to feel like I could do that. And like you, I would have felt the pressure in that situation. But I think it's changed, and rightfully so, that even for the young guys, if they're going to play, it's like, well, if you need that time to recover, you need that time to recover. And if you're taking the option and all of a sudden, your performance drops or you're playing worse, well, then maybe it's time for the coaching staff to step in. But I mean, you're basically allowing the athletes to be athletes and to take care of their body and to get what they need in order to be ready, rather than forcing them to do something. Like, I don't think those young guys should feel like they have to take the optional if they don't need to. Again, guys that aren't playing, you play only a couple minutes a night, sure. Be like, hey, I want you out there just to get a little XYZ, and the coaches are going to work with you on this. If you like being out there, Darnell Nurse was out there. He plays a lot of minutes, but he likes being out there, so he's out there. Evander Kane was out there, plays a lot of minutes, likes being out there, so he was out there. Like, you have space for that, but I don't know. I'm not a fan of the mandatory pregame skates.
I never had the chance to go through this. I mean, yesterday I had a rec league game at 9:30. Did I go up for a quick rip at River Cree around 3:30 to get the legs moving? Of course I did. But I will judge my entire future on this concept on what happens tonight. If the Hurricanes come flying out of the gate and kick the shit out of the Oilers in the first 10 minutes, it's going to be like, you guys got to be out there skating. Seems more like a business attitude, like.
No, but it's not a more business attitude. Now, the Hurricanes are going to come flying out of the gate because that's the makeup of their team. They are a very good team that comes hot out of the gate, and they are going to work very, very hard. I mean, you can just see that in the pregame skate. Like, that's their mentality. They're going to be aggressive. They're going to work hard. They have one of the best deep pairings in the league in Slavin and Burns.
Yeah.
So like they're going to be a really good team. Going to be a big, big challenge. But to me, again, I'm not just thinking about tonight for Carolina. I'm thinking about game 82 and beyond. It's like if you don't give your guys enough time, I mean, how often do we see later in the season guys getting maintenance days? And they should get maintenance days. So many times the team that wins in the Stanley Cup is the team that is healthy, that has the fewest injuries, right? Like, and it's really hard to stay healthy in the playoffs over that period of time and that long a season. It's a grind. And if you're forcing your guys every single day, multiple times a day now, to be at that level, it just wears on you. And specifically, not as much for your, like local product, like Jordy Martinook, where it's like, well, he plays a grittier, grindy game. He's able to deal with that, doesn't play as many minutes. But for your Ahos of the world, who are going to play skilled minutes and people are going to try to be banging them up a little bit, to me, it just doesn't, I don't know, it just doesn't make sense.
If Oilers suck and Carolina just is up by 4, then we're going to rip you apart on Monday.
Okay. Yeah, I'm calling you out on lack of a morning skate 100% being the reason, buddy. Just so you know.
Okay. Fair.
This is already episode 262, the great morning skate debate. That's the episode here. But look, let's just get to this game. I mean, Gager, your thoughts on what the Oilers, they're 1-2, whatever, it's 3 games in. If they go to 1-3, it's 4 games in now. You've only won one of your first games. From what you've seen recently from this team here, Gager, so far this year, I mean, what has to happen tonight against Carolina for them to? I mean, Carolina's 3-0. They've allowed 3 goals in 3 games. Haven't played a bunch of great teams just yet, but they've only allowed 3 goals in the 3 games that they played so far. So, what do you think is going to be the key for the Oilers here, Gager?
I think what's key for the Oilers is that they know who they're looking across at the team that they're playing against, and the realization that they're playing a team that, some people are saying that could be a Stanley Cup final matchup, right? So I look back at last game and the Oilers looking at the Buffalo Sabres, their mindset's probably not, I'm playing against this guy, that guy. It's like, I got to take care of myself. If I do this, this, and this, and this, I should be successful. Tonight is a completely different animal. If you don't bring your game to a certain level, you're risking massive embarrassment against the Hurricanes, because they'll just mop the floor with you. So I like what the matchups. These next few games are really quite a barometer of what of the whole season, really, and to see where you're at compared to some of these teams, because they are all really, really good, strong teams. I'm excited about watching this. I think this is going to be a good game. And just to get into more of a rhythm too, like playing a game, day off, playing a game, day off. So I think that's going to help the Oilers a little bit with the start of the season, getting more into that routine. I mean, we just talked about pregame skates, but even those things, just more of a kind of Groundhog Day of event of getting ready for games and stuff like this. So I think we're going to see a progression of the Oilers getting a little bit better here.
Cass, what do you think here? Like, I thought I don't think the effort's been there. It's not like they've been going through the motions. I mean, I think from start to finish, the effort has been there pretty much in all 3 games so far. It just seems like, I don't know, like mental issues once in a while, sloppy with the puck here or there, maybe lack of urgency with the puck, and just a willingness to sort of give it away in spots you probably shouldn't be looking to make a play in. Is that something you just tighten up overnight? It's just like, hey guys, like, start making better decisions with the puck. Everything's going to be okay.
Well, guys know what to do. I mean, like, let's look at Leon, for example, and the turnovers of the blue line. I mean, that's as simple as being like, hey, Leon, can't turn that puck over, and him being like, yeah, I got to be a little bit better in those situations. Like, yeah, it's not something that you need to spend 30 practices on working with him. Like, it's just, to me, a matter of mindset shift or a little adjustment. Mindset adjustment. Shift isn't the right word. Mindset adjustment for him, and just bearing down on plays. Like, it's, again, and we saw what the Oilers could do in the third period when they were capable of, and when they're playing, and when they're playing well and playing at their best. Now they need to score. They had too many chances they didn't score on, but I don't know. I'm not. The more I sat and I thought about that last game against Buffalo and about how they played and how they finished, it's just like they had 3 or 4 bad minutes in the middle of that game. The rest of the game was pretty solid. Some of it very good. I don't think, Yeah, I don't think you need to overly worry about a lot of, at least in the last game, the breakdowns that they had. They weren't like systematic, problematic, long-term things, unless they become habitual. They were grade A immediate breakdowns, maybe reaching a little bit too much. Things that you can clean up, but you can clean up with your focus and intention and intensity versus having to spend a ton of time, like, I don't know, digging through video and practice work on some of that.
Gager, Murray and Bouchard been victimized a little bit here so far. And I think in the offseason, you kind of saw that blue line. You thought, oh, Kulak will be with Bouchard, and then it'll be Broberg with Barry, or, maybe after they sign Murray, be Murray and Barry. Now, I think Kulak's averaging about 15 minutes per game. Bouchard's averaging about 16 minutes per game. Murray's averaging about 30 per game. Is it gonna click there with Murray or Bouchard, or do you think it's something that they're gonna have to move away from here?
That's a good question. I just find the whole decor just a little out of sync, Dusty. It's hard for me to say which pairing should be with who, because they haven't looked like a cohesive unit so far. Really, all the pairings. There's missed passes. It seems like the communication isn't quite there. I think we just have to let this kind of simmer a little bit until there's some chemistry brewing between some players, because they really seem like they're not on the same page with a lot of things. It's just not crisp like we saw at the end of last year, right? It just seemed like they were really in sync, and I think that's just it's early season, having so many preseason games with different lineups. I think that was kind of you only got to the full group together, essentially the last game of preseason. But they just have to, there's another level for the decor to get to, for sure. They just have to start progressing and getting closer to the level that's needed for them to be successful.
Maybe get a better read on this tonight from Carolina after we watch them. But Cass, I'm going to throw a question your way. I mean, you look at Carolina, they look stacked. I mean, up front, especially, a great young core. I mean, it's really good. They bring in Burns, he's with Slavin. They got a nice second pair there as well. Is their goaltending the only thing that might stop them from winning a Stanley Cup? Like, would you identify Freddie Anderson and Antti Ranta, and especially both of their abilities to stay healthy, as maybe the issue with the Hurricanes?
That's one. I mean, you could point to the. And I think it was Gregor that did make this today, and I had to assent in this and saying, yeah, you could be right, is that at times they're missing that game-breaking forward. They have a lot of really, really good forwards. Does Aho, Teravainen, do they have the ability to be that game-breaking forward in a playoff atmosphere?
Well, if you guys would have agreed with me and put Svechnikov in the franchise 32, we wouldn't even be having this conversation.
Well, another guy you could put on that list of, is he an absolute game breaker? Now, he is to a certain extent, but do they have just that extra gear of scoring goals punch to make it through the playoffs? That's issue number two. Number one is the health of the goalies. I think if Freddie Anderson is healthy, their goaltending isn't an issue. If he's not healthy, goaltending does become an issue.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if he can stay healthy. They've been good so far. Just 3 goals allowed in 3 games. The Oilers will look to change that tonight. I want to get your guys' thoughts on the Maple Leafs quickly, because they lose to Arizona. Sheldon Keefe, after that game, says it was great. It was great answer to a question. He goes, look, the difference is, I like seeing coaches not afraid to just kind of say what everybody expects you to say. He goes, look, the difference between us and the Coyotes is that we have elite players. And part of me is like, oh, poor Coyotes. And then I thought, well, he's right. I mean, the Coyotes really don't have elite players. They're good hockey players because they're in the National Hockey League. But apparently that became an issue in Toronto. They were at, Mitch Marner was asked if he talked to him about it. And he said, yeah, we talked to him about it. It's going to stay behind closed doors. I mean, maybe it's just because it's a center of the hockey universe sort of discussion. Gager, I didn't think Sheldon Keefe would have to backpedal on his comments that the Leafs elite players didn't show up, and this is what happens when your elite guys don't come to play for the night. I mean, that's an honest comment from a coach. He's probably right.
Everything's so under the microscope in Toronto. Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong though, really. Like in that case, the big boys in Toronto should have been able to take over the game. There's nothing, he's not lying about the situation, but yeah, that's to be a few games in and start throwing your your big dogs under the bus. It'll be interesting to see how they respond to that, and if his message is just getting to Charlie Brown's teacher level of want soon. That's maybe a card you pull late November, close to Christmas, maybe. Not so much first couple of weeks of the season.
You make a good point, because like we sit here and say, oh, it's early. But you got a players only meeting in Vancouver. You got Sheldon Keefe ripping on his elite guys. Cass, I mean, how are we supposed to look at us and go, oh, it's early, and all these other teams are freaking out?
He's not ripping on them. That to me is something that got blown so out of proportion. Like, I can't tell you how many times we would talk in the dressing room. Typically the phrase is, your best guys need to be your best guys. That's what we would always say. And what coaches would always say. That's why they're paid $8 million. Your $8 million players need to be $8 million players. Like, your best players have to be your best players. And if they're not your best players, not that they're going to do it every single night over the course of a season, but if you want to beat teams, they have to be the best. Sheldon Keefe was dead on. Toronto has miles more talent. Their best players are way better than the best players in Arizona. That's why, they're a way better team than them typically. But if those guys don't show up, all of a sudden you're giving Arizona a chance. So he's stating to me the obvious. And even inside the dressing room, and I think the only reason they had to have a closed door meeting about it is because people blew it up out of proportion and made it this big thing and turned it into some crazy thing. But it's just like, well, yeah, no, he just stated the obvious. And if I was in that room, I'd kind of be like, well, he's not wrong though. Like, our best guys need to be our best guys. I'm not going to be our best player.
If he says that and he's coaching, well, for example, if he's coaching in Arizona and its rosters are flipped, nobody in Arizona is going to give two shits that he called out the elite guys, right? Like, it's a Canadian market. I mean, we probably would have done the same here in Edmonton.
Like, Dusty and Gager, if I'm the best player on the ice in an NHL game when I was playing, we would look at that and we'd go, something's wrong here. This guy should not be your best player. Right? Like, that's the reality.
You scored
of it.
2 goals on Carey Price, buddy. Give yourself some respect here.
Right. And we were horrible in that game up until that point. And I helped turn that game around in that instance. But it's like, so yes, you're going to have your role players that are going to step up and people that are going to help, and they're going to help you in those games. But if on a night in and night out basis, or if you lose against a team that is below you in the standings, or should be below you in the standings, that you should be able to beat, I mean, you have to look at it and say, well, yeah, our best guys weren't our best guys. And that's what he's doing. They're elite guys. We're not at the elite level they need to be. If they want to destroy Arizona, elite guys got to be elite guys, because there is parity to a certain extent in this league. And players are good in this league. So if you're players that push you over the top, the Marners of the world, the Matthews of the world, Nylander, those guys, if those guys aren't pushing you over the top, if they're just kind of right at the same level as everybody else, well, yeah, you're going to lose some hockey games. And I just don't think there's any issue of him actually coming out and saying it. I just think media blew it up, fans blew it up, people blew it up. And so they had to address it, because they don't want to develop any kind of bitterness internally inside some of those players. And you want to clarify, because people are now saying he was saying something he's not. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't have any kind of an issue with Keefe's comments at all.
Haven't been good. Like, when you look at their big guys, they haven't been good, I think.
Exactly.
Has Marner or has Matthews scored yet?
No, I don't.
Did he get one? I mean, they're 4 games.
Nylander scored a couple.
I'm not sure he got one.
I saw Nylander had, like, he's scored a few, but
Marner scored as well. I'm just trying to look it up to see here if see what their big guys are looking like here so far. Let's see. Skaters, Toronto Maple Leafs. What do we got here? Yeah, so Austin Matthews has 1 goal. Tavares has 1. Nylander's got 3, and Marner's got 1. Marner's got 4 points in 4 games. Nylander's got 4 and 4. Tavares has 5 and 4, and Matthews has 2 and 4. I mean, so they've been okayish so far. Yeah. But not in that game. Not good enough, I guess. Hey, let's get to this quickly before we wrap up, guys. I'm going to bring it up. The reverse retro, so you can get a look at it here. First of all, Cass, what do you think of the Oilers reverse retro? What do you think of that?
I like it. I love the gear. I like the little mix up with the orange. It's a good change. I'm excited to see it, and see it live. Like, that'll be, I like it. I think it's a cool one. I'm a fan. I'm also a huge fan of the San Jose's Golden Seals. And I don't know if you guys saw, but Philly is going to wear Cooperalls.
The Cooperalls
in warm-ups. Which is amazing. I love that. So I like a lot of them. I do like Edmonton's, and I think the San Jose's were my next favorite.
Gager, what about you?
Yeah, no, I think it'll look good on the ice.
The Oilers is all right. I think the Oilers is all right. Yeah, it's nice.
It's better than the jerseys that they had on last game. I'm tired of the practice jerseys, to tell you the truth. I thought they were cool when they first, but again, it's a practice jersey. The Seals are good. I do like the Seattle one. I don't know how they have a reverse retro with two, but it's really good just point. Their normal jersey, really. But North Stars, I like the Minnesota,
the wild logo with the North Stars colors. Yeah,
with the old North Stars. That's kind of my one of my favorites. I would have to say, but I don't mind the Oilers one for sure.
I don't really like the Flames. I think the Flames looks a little awkward, to be honest with you. I don't think that's a Edmonton take. I don't know. It's one of my least favorites. I don't think you can ever go wrong with mixing purple and yellow together, like the Kings with the big crown there. I like the way that one looks as well. I mean, there's a few of them that look pretty good.
What do you think about the Habs? Because that's one of the ones I'm not a big fan of.
Yeah, I mean, as a longtime Habs fan, I won't be rushing out to get one of those jerseys, boys. I'm not going to lie.
It looks
there's a little bit
just looks off to me.
Where'd they get that blue from? You know what I mean? Like, like, how's that retro? Which jersey from the past are you taking that blue from? It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So some of them look really nice. So I think the Canes and Vegas, just putting Canes and Vegas down the jerseys. I think it's kind of like, oh shit, the deadline's tomorrow. We better come up with something. Put the letters in a diagonal down the front of the jersey. Like, give us a Vegas Canes game with both of them in those, both of those in those jerseys. But Oilers kind of middle of the pack. Like, I thought it was nice. I do like it more than the one that they wore in their last game. I think it's time to move on from that one. All right, that's going to do it for another episode of Two Guys and a Goalie. Boys, what do you think? Puck drop not far away here. Oilers get it done tonight against the Hurricanes. What's the official prediction?
7-1 Edmonton.
Listen to this guy. He's back. I'm gonna say Carolina wins because they got their legs going this morning in the morning skate. Gager, what are you going with?
Yeah, I think that this 6 games is just it's a catastrophe for the Oilers, and then they're going to get on the road and start to figure things out. But I look for the Canes to put up a 5-3 victory tonight.
All right, there you go. That's the latest on the Oilers and the Hurricanes. Thank you very much for watching and listening to Two Guys and a Goalie. If you've been watching on the live stream, subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. Two Guys and a Goalie, brought to you by CoolBet on all of your podcasting platforms. Give us a sub. We would appreciate it. Enjoy that game tonight, everybody. We'll be back talking more Oilers and the rest of the National Hockey League on Monday. Have a great weekend, boys.
Happy race week.